Okay, now there was definitely no shortage of amazing guitarists in the 80s. I think we can all agree on that. Unfortunately, some of them did not get the appreciation that they deserved, or at least not in my opinion. And one of those guys is Kee Marcello. Now, I've talked about Kee Marcello a bunch on the channel because I think he deserves so much more attention. I love his playing that he did on Europe. He has his whole, solo career. All these things, such an incredible player. So we're gonna dive in. I wanna show you a solo that I wrote that is inspired by Kee. These aren't his actual licks or anything like that. Now, I'm pulling this lesson from one of my courses called Essential 80s Licks. And if you dig it at all, this whole course is based off of these big extended phrases played or written in the style of, these icons of the 80s. So if you dig it, do me a huge favor, check it out. It's on sale for 80s summer, and it is just the biggest way to support the channel. If you dig what I do, and what you say was hop on over there, check out the course if you would, and let's get our 80s on. 80s summer. All right, so we are on to Kee Marcello, and I thought about having John Norum in here as well, but I know just for myself, Kee had a really big impact on the way that I like to play guitar. And if you're coming from the Jake E. Lee lesson, it's kind of cool because there's some similar ideas here about running through scales. And like I said, I know some people do not like that sound, but if you like 80s, I guarantee you like it, because there were just so many guys like Paul Gilbert, like which he's in here later. A lot of them had ideas like that where they just kind of like would do a speed run up to a scale into something very melodic. And by far, my favorite guy who did this was Kee Marcello. So again, if you like Europe, or if you haven't really checked out Europe, check them out. There's kind of like two different eras of Europe. You have the very early stuff, which is John Norum, who is also an incredible guitarist. Then when he left the band to do his own thing, Kee Marcello took over, and Kee had a whole different style. But yeah, and sometimes I can't tell who's who, and I have to really listen. But if once you get used to hearing them, you're like, okay, I can tell Kee Marcello. He did so many cool things. So, in this one, I try to take all of my favorite elements of Kee's playing, which he's very melodic, he's very technical at times with how he plays speed. And one of the coolest things that Kee does that I really stole from him was these varying degrees of speed in one run. So what I mean by that is, and you'll see when I do it here in a second, he'll play like a scale run. But it won't be all the same speed. It'll be like, halfway through he speeds up. I can't remember the classical terminology for this. I should have looked it up. But he says he has an instructional video, and he says it in there. But anyway, so this one starts off, this one is major. That's another thing I liked about Kee's playing was he played in major scales and major keys a lot. So yeah. And I'm just thinking A major for all of this one. So now we're going to start on 12th fret of the A, and we're going to do exactly what I was talking about, a slight little burst of speed into a melodic line. So we're going to go 12, 14, 16, 12, 14, 16 on the D. So 12, 14, 16 on the A, 12, 14, 16 on the D, 13, 14, 16 on the G. Now here's where the melodic lines start. So we ended up 16, you end up playing 16 again. So 14, 13, 14, 13, 14 on the D. So you have right there. And I just love that sound. And like I said, if you got this, of course, obviously you're digging the 80s. And I would bet money that you like the way that stuff sounds too, because I was always like, that's the coolest thing ever, man. Kee Marcello's the best. So now go down here. Again, Kee had amazing bends, always in tune, killer vibrato, and he would do a lot of these almost like kind of rock and roll, double stop, country-ish bends in his playing, and I always thought that was cool. So you have shifting down, you're going to go to 12 on the B. Okay, and then you take your pinky and you get 12 on the high E string. So I'm bending with my ring finger, bend it up, and pull off that 12 to 10. So now the next one here is very similar to how we kicked off the beginning. So you're gonna go. But you notice there's more notes. We have to fit more notes in the same amount of time. So this time we're going. And you notice how I'm getting faster. I start off and it's like a burst of speed right in the middle of it. So and that's what Kee would do that always sounded so cool. So I'm going to go 14, 16, 18 on the D, 14, 16, 18 on the G. Then I go to the B string. Let's do this section again. So I'm going to go 14, 16, 18 on the D, 14, 18, 16. No. Jeez. Okay, so I'm going to go 14, 16, 18 on the D, 14, 16, 18 on the G, hop over to the B string, and I'm going to go 15, 17, 19, and the high string is going to go 16, 17, 19. So, and I do the exact same melodic line that I did, but an octave higher. Again, another key trait of Kee Marcello is he would repeat these melodic phrases up an octave. I mean, again, a very classic 80s technique. Joe Satriani did this a lot as well. So we're up here at 19. I'd play it again. 17, 16, 17. Back to 16. So back to 16, and I'm going to go 19 on the B this time to 17 on the B. So now from here we have another speed run, and this is another one where I get gradually faster as I play it. So slow it will look like this, then I'll break down the individual notes. And that would be that lick slow, but when I played up to speed, like I said, I played the last part faster than how I started the lick. And I'm starting off here with simply going, it was a 17 pull off to 16 on the high A string. And then on the B string, I'm going to go 19, 17, 15. So then back to 17, back to 19 on the B. So on the high A string, I'm going to go 16, 17, 19. So 17, 16. So I'm going to go back to the B string. I'm going to go 19, 17, 15. So let's get that much of it down so far. So okay, now you're going to go back to 17, back to 19, 17, 15 on that B string. So now you're going to go to the G, and you're going to play 18 on the G, 16, 14, back to 16, back to 18, 16, 14. So you have go to the D string, do the exact same thing. 18, 16, 14, 18, 19, or sorry, 18. And you go to the G, 14, 16, 18, and you end on 14. I know it can be confusing, especially when someone's just shouting out the numbers the whole time. But check the tabs to get that lick totally into your fingers, because if flows better than what I was probably talking, explaining it. And again, the way I'm doing it is I gradually get faster. And that's the Kee Marcello section. So let's kind of recap. The key points here is this concept of running into a melodic line, starting low, getting higher. You have cool little melodic-y bends. Another run with varying speeds. That is probably the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. It's the biggest thing I got from Kee was his melodic sense, and then these varying speeds inside of a scale run. I was just like, that is amazing. It takes a lot of control and dynamics in your left and right hand. So spend a lot of time working on that one. And then, of course, cool melodic lines, use your octaves, and then create a cool pattern. You notice I kicked this one off the same exact way that we did the Jakey Lee one. Two different sounds. So you will have a lot of fun with that one. All right, homies, that is going to be it. Hopefully you got something out of there. There are so many things I have stolen from Kee Marcello's playing over the years. Like I said, I just love it. He can be so shreddy when he wants to. He's so melodic. A lot of his solos were major key solos. The 80s were so much minor stuff. I always thought it was cool that he was doing a lot more major key stuff. So anyways, I'm bouncing out of here. Like I said, if you want to support the channel, check out the course if you would. It means a lot to me. And we're gonna be back shredding. Look at this. Rock on. Shredding. All right, later guys.